Okay, back at it again with the old Mobius. Chapter 8, The Pulpit. Very short chapter, so I'm going to keep it brief, but there's a little bit to talk about, okay? So the first passage I want to talk about is a little bit into the chapter, and it's the description of the pulpit, which is just, it's so hilarious. Like most old-fashioned pulpits, it was a very lofty one. And since irregular stairs to such a height would, by its long angle with the floor, seriously contract the already small area of the chapel, the architect, it seemed, had acted upon the hint of Father Mapple and finished the pulpit without a stairs, substituting a perpendicular side ladder, like those used in mounting a ship from a boat at sea. The wife of a whaling captain had provided the chapel with a handsome pair of red worsted man-ropes for this ladder, which being itself nicely headed, and stained with a mahogany color, the whole contrivance, considering what manner of chapel it was, seemed by in no means bad taste. So I just find the image of a pulpit, the thing in church that you speak at, having a rope that you climb up to get to it, like it's a treehouse or a jungle gym. Just the funniest thing in the world. And it fits the nautical theme, but it's just hilarious. The other passage I wanted to talk about in here is a couple paragraphs down, and since it's in yellow, I'm going to talk about some of the main questions of Moby Dick around interpretation and truth and understanding. So, Father Mapple, it says, is capable of climbing up the ladder and getting isolated in there because he's way above everyone and it's kind of isolated. And so it says, Ishmael, I pondered some time without fully comprehending the reason for this. Father Mapple enjoyed such a wide reputation for sincerity and sanctity that I could not suspect him of courting notoriety by any mere tricks of the stage. No, thought I, there must be some sober reason for this thing. Furthermore, it must symbolize something unseen. Can it be, then, that by this act of physical isolation he signifies his spiritual withdrawal for the time from all the outward worldly ties and connections? So Ishmael, considering the possible signification of the isolated and removed pulpit, raises the question of interpretation insofar as it forces us to ask, is Ishmael reading too much into the physical? Is this a passage about the tendency of human beings perhaps to find more meaning in things than there is? Those of you who are reading this book and going, hey, doesn't that apply to this book itself? Shut up! We're not even at the dense chapters yet. It's going to get a lot more dense from here. But in this case, when we have like a ship's prow, are we just reading into something that was an efficient choice for space, or does it have some deeper spiritual significance? Additionally, we ask ourselves, is Father Mapple going to use the tricks of the stage to make his point, or will his point stand on their own in the abstract? So this raises the question of how the medium of delivering information changes human beings' willingness or method of interpreting it. Can we interpret people's words with any more clarity than Ishmael can interpret whether the pulpit is just a fun Disneyland-esque flourish or a deep metaphor? Is the way that we interpret things influenced by the surroundings of the person who is delivering them? Interesting questions raised but not necessarily answered. Second, I just want to point out the other hilarious thing about this pulpit, which is that it has a paneled front with the likeness of the ship's bluff bows, and the Holy Bible rested on a projecting piece of scrollwork fashioned after a ship's fiddle-headed beak. So it's just hilarious that not only does this pulpit have ropes that you have to climb onto like a boat, but it is shaped with the angled wood, like, in a triangle shape, the front part of a boat. It's an absurd image that I find hilarious. And then we have this closing passage, which also deals with how humans understand the world, in this case in the context of religion. What could be more full of meaning? And anytime you see the word meaning, I'm going to say something about interpretation and knowledge and truth. What could be more full of meaning? For the pulpit is ever this earth's foremost part. All the rest comes in its rear. The pulpit leads the world. From thence it is the storm of God's quick wrath is first descried, and the bow must bear the earliest brunt. From thence it is the god of breezes fair or foul is first invoked for favorable winds. Yes, the world's a ship on its passage out, and not a voyage complete, and the pulpit is its prow. So to me, this passage is about the role of religion in shaping people's truth claims and conceptions of the world, right? If the pulpit is where truth claims made by religion are delivered, then he says that leads the world. And I'm taking the world here as a synecdoche for the various people who make decisions about the ethical and moral and personal attitudes they have towards the world, which are influenced by their relationship to religion. So this idea about the role of religion in people's frameworks of understanding is going to be explored more in chapter 9, but I think it is first introduced here in chapter 8 to kind of prime the pump for Father Mapple's sermon, which we're about to get.